Hello and welcome to another edition of On Call. I'm Tabor Aiken, Public Information Officer for the Lakeville Fire Department. The goal of this program is to educate and inform the citizens of Lakeville about how Lakeville's all-volunteer fire department trains and responds to emergencies. Let's take a look at what's coming up on this edition of On Call. We'll learn about how firefighters train and respond to ice rescue emergencies. On the Chief's Corner, Fire Chief Mike Meyer will learn about some of the high-tension freeway cabling that's being installed and what its purpose is. On Ask Tabor, we'll field a number of questions and hopefully have a special guest. On Did You Know, we'll talk about two things: the new truck that Lakeville Fire Department is in the process of purchasing and some of the reflective labeling that goes on our apparatus. Scratch learns about cold weather, water, and firefighters. We have the consumer safety checklist, and today we'll wrap things up by announcing the fire prevention poster contest winner. Here in Minnesota, there are many winter outdoor activities available for us to enjoy, but there are certain risks when choosing activities located on a frozen lake. Not trying to scare you, we're here to educate and inform so that a day of ice fishing or snowmobiling doesn't end up with a rescue from the fire department. Here's Lakeville Fire Department Captain Todd Sellner with information on ice safety.
One of the things to remember if you're going to go out on the ice is there's no such thing as safe ice. No ice is ever safe. There are some guidelines for thickness of ice, which are about 4 inches for foot traffic, 5 inch for ATV or snowmobile, and 8 to 12 inches for light trucks and cars. But you should continue to check the depth. You know, you can do that through a local sporting goods store, bait shop store. They may have some information on what the thickness is of the different lakes. There's numerous types of ice, such as probably about 10 types. Some of the more common would be clear ice, which is the strongest of them. It's just when it gets well below freezing, there's no snow, it's just clear, solid ice. Otherwise, there's white ice, which is when you get the thin layer of ice and then snow on top of it, it melts and becomes a milky white, and that tends to be very weak. And then you also have layered ice, which is just what it sounds like, layers of ice, which can also be very unstable and weak. Some of the things you want to do if you're going to go on the ice, if it's at night, don't overdrive your headlights. You should have a personal flotation device with you, which you'll never want to wear the flotation device inside the vehicle. Don't put it on until you get outside the car. Also, when you're driving in a vehicle, you may want to roll the windows down, unbuckle your seat belts, and have a plan that if you were to break through the ice, how would you get out of the vehicle? Another thing you may want to carry on with you is ice awls. Basically, it's going to be a handheld device. You can make them at home with a wooden dowel and some nails, or just go to the local sporting goods store and buy them, and they just help you climb out of the ice. They basically a nail and a little peg. It just helps assist you in getting out of the ice. You should have a buddy with you, and once again, be prepared and have a plan that if something was to happen, if you were to break through, you know, that person that's with you is going to want to get a hold of 911 as soon as possible. If you're not carrying something with you that you could reach the person with, there may be something, you're close enough to shore where you can grab a boat oar or jumper cables, rope, branch, anything you can reach the person, because you don't want to get too close to where they busted through, because it's obviously already too weak.
So the best thing to do is be aware of ice conditions and your surroundings. But what happens when someone falls through the ice and the fire department is called to help? Here's Lieutenant Don Johnson explaining how the fire department responds to an ice rescue.
In the event of that type of rescue situation, we have equipment that we have to start getting on before we get to the scene. We have ice rescue suits that take a little bit of time to get on. They are somewhat watertight, although they do leak, but they keep you floating while in the water. We're also trying to get as much information as we can as we get there. Is the victim coherent? Is he able to help us? Is there bystanders? Is there people that seen where they went in, and try to get a better location? Obviously, we can't drive our trucks out onto the ice, so we have to get there. Above all, it's trying to be safe. With that in mind, we don't want to be part of the emergency. So when we do arrive, hopefully we have one or two firefighters in the rescue suits that are ready to go into the water. We also have anyone that's on the ice has to wear a personal flotation device before we can even go out on the ice and attempt to rescue someone. One of the factors to really consider is if that person's able to help themselves. Obviously, if we can keep from going into the water, that's the best scenario for us. We can throw them rope, we can throw them other flotation devices to try to help pull them out of the water. We have long pike poles that we can use to try to pull a victim out of the water. In worst case scenario, if someone's suffering from advanced stages of hypothermia, or we do have to go in, we will go in the water and attempt to rescue someone. Traditionally, what we'll try to do is a one-person rescue. It's easier, it's less involved. There'll be firefighters on some part of the ice or dry land, hopefully with rope, and connected to that rope are carabiners that will keep us locked into that safety rope. The firefighter will walk out onto the ice. As they get closer, they'll start to kneel down or crouch down so we don't break any more ice around there if possible. Again, to be safe and not be part of the emergency, we'll usually come into the side or from behind the victim, try to calm them down, talk to them the whole way, try to calm that person down as much as we can. Slip into the water behind him, hook into the rescue rope. He'll then notify the firefighters on land using some hand signals that he's ready to go, and the help from the shore will pull both the victim and the firefighter out of the water. Well, then we have to start treating the hypothermia. So hopefully we can get that person into either an ambulance or a fire truck, try to get them out of the wet clothes and into warm blankets, and by that time EMS should be there and be able to help take that over. The sheriff's office is actually responsible for the dive team situation, and in most instances, if we do have a water rescue scenario, they'll probably start the dive team. Hopefully it won't return into a recovery, but the fire department is only involved in the actual rescue. Any recovery would have to be done by the sheriff's office.
Our goal is the same as yours, to have a good time out on the lakes in Minnesota. So please be careful when you go out there. Check ice conditions before you go, either by calling the DNR or checking with the local bait shop. And remember, no piece of ice is ever 100% safe.
Could one of these people start a deadly fire? Careless smoking is the #1 cause of fire fatalities. However, most fires are preventable. So, will one of these people start a deadly fire? It's up to them. You can protect your family and your home from fire. Visit GetYourButtOutside.com. Brought to you by the Minnesota State Fire Chiefs Association and the Minnesota Fair Plan.
Did you know that the Lakeville Fire Department is currently in the process of purchasing a new piece of fire apparatus? This piece of fire apparatus will be designated as a tender, which means that it's primarily designed for carrying large amounts of water. This tender is being built by Midwest Fire Engineering in Laverne, Minnesota. And when it is complete and delivered to the Lakeville Fire Department, it will carry approximately 3,000 gallons of water and will take the place of Tender 1, which was purchased secondhand by the Lakeville Fire Department and was originally built around 1980. This piece of apparatus has run into a number of mechanical issues that are becoming expensive and difficult to repair, so it made financial sense for the fire department to purchase a new piece of apparatus. One of the features that this new apparatus will have is chevron striping, and chevron striping is frequently seen on ambulances and fire apparatus. It's on the rear of the vehicle. They're large reflective stripes, so the vehicle is very visible to traffic coming up from the back of the vehicle. But did you know the Lakeville Fire Department is currently in the process of retrofitting many pieces of apparatus? Fire engineer Brian Cluck, who has previous experience applying these, is volunteering his time to apply these reflective stripes to a number of pieces of fire apparatus within the city so that all of our fire apparatus is uniform and meets the new and updated code.
welcome to another edition of Chief's Corner. I'm Chief Mike Meyer. We're here today doing some training with the fire department on the cable systems that have been recently installed on 35W and Cedar Avenue if you drive through Apple Valley. We have John McClellan from MnDOT that's going to go over some of the stuff that we've had training on. Welcome, John, to Chief's Corner.
Hi, thank you.
Tell me a little bit about the purpose of the cables that we have installed in Lakeville now on the freeways.
Purpose of the cable median barrier is to prevent vehicles from crossing over and striking another vehicle head-on, which has a very high potential for serious injuries, if not fatal injuries, when a vehicle loses control and crosses over onto the other direction of the freeway.
Okay. When did we first start testing or installing these in the freeway system?
MnDOT, the first installation that MnDOT put in was in 2004, and that was on a section of Interstate 94 from Rogers to Maple Grove. And then there was a second test section up on Highway 10 in the Monticello area. And after a year of testing, we found that it was extremely effective in preventing crossover crashes and had a definite impact in reducing serious injuries and fatalities in those areas. So about 2005, 2006, there started to be a stronger push to install more of these cable median barrier systems, not only throughout the state, but through the metro. So most of the metro area now is covered. Few areas that are coming, but most of the metro area is covered now.
So, John, why are we here today for training for the fire department?
Well, we found MnDOT does not have the staff or the emergency response element of the staff to be able to respond if a vehicle becomes caught up in the cable barrier, if a vehicle strikes the cable and needs to be removed. We want to make sure that the first responders who are there, the fire departments, the troopers, the tow operators, people who are going to be at the scene in the first 5, 10, 15 minutes, that they know how to react, what to expect from the cable, and then how to deal with the scene. Because we know we may not be able to get out there in enough time. It may take us some time to have MnDOT staffing on scene. So by giving that information to the fire department and the responders, we hope to be able to have a better outcome.
What if you're a resident and you happen to drive into the cables? What should you do? What are some of the things that they should know about besides calling 911?
Yeah, call 911 if you can. If you can articulate to the dispatcher where you are, is going to be helpful. Stay in your vehicle, keep your seatbelts on until help gets there. Unfortunately, people have been hit outside of their vehicles, and certainly if the weather conditions are what led you to become in your first collision, to crash, whether it's cable barrier or another vehicle slide off the road, those weather conditions may cause another vehicle to do it, and you do not want to be on foot and hit by another vehicle. So stay in your car, call 911, and keep your seatbelt on.
All right, those are great safety points for everybody, and I thank you for coming here today.
Thank you.
So, you're out for an evening of ice fishing all by yourself. You don't have a care in the world. Well, you were thinking about catching the big one. You didn't notice the hole in the ice and you fell into the frigid water. Now your clothes are wet, heavy, and you can't seem to climb out. Soon hypothermia, the lowering of your inner core temperature, will begin, and you can't see anybody to help. What are you gonna do? This message provided by your local public safety and fire departments.
And now it's time for you, the viewer, to ask a question, where you have the chance to win a t-shirt in another exciting edition of Ask Tabor.
On today's Ask Tabor segment, we have several questions from a couple of different viewers. We're going to start off with a question from Brandon, and Brandon wants to know, why does the nut on top of a hydrant have 5 sides? Well, the simple answer, Brandon, would be so that it matches a hydrant wrench, which also has 5 sides, but more specifically, it's to separate this from the traditional 6-sided wrench, and then gives a tool that can be a little bit more secure, not accessed by the general public, generally accessible to all firefighters and emergency personnel, so that we can use this tool to open up the hydrant and access the water in the water system. So hopefully that answers your question, Brandon. The other question that Brandon sent in and connects with questions that we had from other viewers is a question about my good friend Scratch. And Scratch is a fire dog, as many of you know. And what Brandon wants to know is Scratch really from France? Well, Brandon, I have tried many, many times to get Scratch to be on this program, and I've been unsuccessful with that. I've invited him to be on. He really likes his section of the program, likes to be on there. Again, I invited him to be on. He wasn't able. So I started doing some research to see if I could answer that question for you, and it took me quite a bit of time. I've gone back through the annual reports that the fire chief is responsible for putting together.
Hey, I was there sound asleep, and I all of a sudden had this feeling that Tabor wanted me and needed me. Here I come, Tabor!
Barry didn't remember, is Scratch really from France? So, I mean, I've been, like I said, I've been doing a lot of looking.
Hey,
and,
Tabor!
Wow.
Tabor! Oh, there you are, Tabor!
Here I am, Scratch, how you doing?
Hey, I'm doing very
We were
well.
just talking about you.
I sensed you, Tabor. It was like something from the force. I was sleeping, and I heard your voice talking about me, so I just had to come out and talk to you. So, what's up, dude?
Most people would classify that as a nightmare, hearing my dream.
Oh,
my
no,
voice
Tabor,
while they're-
anytime you call me, I love it.
Well, that's fantastic.
It's
I'm flattered,
fantastic.
Scratch. Yeah.
So what can I
Thanks.
help you with, dude?
Well, we had a question, because
Yeah.
right now you're on the program, the part of the show called Ask Tabor, and I got a question asking Tabor, is Scratch really from France? So now I'm asking you that question, Scratch, since you're here. So maybe you could help us.
I'm a little nervous. I've never been on Ask Tabor before.
Well, it's a pretty painless experience.
So you want to know if I'm from France?
Well, Brandon really wants to know if you're from France.
Well, Brandon, actually, I'm not from France. You probably thought I was from France because I wear this goofy beret. But actually, the person that made the puppet, well, she duct taped it to my head and I can't get it off.
Oh,
So if I
wow.
had to take it off, I'd have a big bald patch.
Well, that might not look so
Yeah,
good.
so I'm not actually from France. I'm actually from Minnesota.
Fantastic.
Yeah, but I got the goofy accent just so I don't sound like other puppets on the Kids in Government show on the other show that's on Channel 16.
I see.
Yeah. That clear it up?
I cleared it up for me.
Me
Helped out
too.
quite a bit. But Scratch, I'm wondering why you're here, if you wouldn't mind answering a couple other questions.
I
because
love being on Ask
we're
Tabor.
inundated, and I'm saying inundated. Like
Yeah.
more zeros in these questions that I can count. You know, I thought maybe it was 10, then I went
Yeah.
back and looked. Maybe it's 100. It's like hundreds of thousands of questions
Woo-hoo.
about you.
I love it.
So two that I picked out of the pile were
Yeah.
from Lillian, and they
Oh.
might be very similar to Brandon's question.
Yeah.
Lillian wants to know what the funny thing under your lip that keeps bouncing up and down is, and why you have that funny voice.
Hey, that's my mustache.
How do you say that
A
again?
mustache.
A mustache.
It's a mustache, and
Ah,
the
very good.
flips and the flops around like that because it
does.
used to be a live caterpillar.
Sometimes I think I could get hypnotized by the mustache.
Yeah, people don't like it as a mustache, but I love it.
I never said I didn't like it.
I didn't say you didn't either.
Okay. And then how about the voice? Maybe you already talked a little bit about that, but
Well,
Lillian.
it's just so I sound different than some of the other shows on the Lakeville Kids in Government, the kids show.
All right,
But it's
terrific.
because I'm from Italy.
So now I might get a question asking if you're really from Italy, even though earlier you said you were from Minnesota.
Hey, I got the stuffings for brains. I don't know where I'm doing or what I'm doing. I just know I'm on Ask Tabor.
Well, I think, the questions have been asked, and they've definitely been answered, Scratch.
Oh, I hope so.
I
And thank
appreciate
you.
you joining us.
Thank you so much for having me on your section of the show, Tabor.
You're very welcome. Thanks for being on this section of the show.
Anytime. I love to be on
All right, I'll let you get back to your nap.
Ask Tabor. Hey, look at that! It's a Scott and a Tabor discussing the finer points of firefighting. And oh, everyone, it's good to see. It's me, Scratch the fire dog, because I like to scratch out the fires. Hey, I'm just here watching some old episodes of On Call, and it's very, very cold outside. And You know, it got me thinking, you know, it's so cold outside that the water freezes in lakes and on the sidewalks, but how come the water doesn't freeze inside the fire trucks and the hydrants? So it's got me crazy. So hey, I thought I'd decide to call my good friend Mike Myers, the new fire chief, to see, hey, if he could answer these questions for me. So, hey, look at this. I'm driving over to the fire station. So let's give Mike a call and see what's up. So I got on the phone and called the fire chief, Mike Meyer, and told him about my predicament. Hey, he was more than happy to help out. So I headed on over to fire station number 1.
Hey, how you doing?
Good,
It's a beautiful day.
It's beautiful. Hey, fire chief! Hey, fire chief! Hey, fire chief! Hey, I'm going all over the place and I can't find the fire chief. Hey, fire chief Mike Meyer, where are you? Oh!
What do you want?
Hey, you snuck up on me and scared me, Mike.
I am a sneaky fellow.
How are you today, Mike Meyer, fire chief for the city of Lakeville?
Good. Yourself, Scratch?
I'm good. Hey, thank you so much for chatting with me. But before we get into the business of hand, I'd like to ask you a question.
Okay.
I'd like you to do an impression of Austin Powers, seeing though you did that in the movie.
I don't do Austin Powers.
You don't? Who do
No.
you do then?
The real Mike Myers from Halloween.
Really? Let's see.
You really? You want to see that?
Oh, maybe not. This is a kid's segment after all. Anyway, well, hey, Mike, I talked to you on the phone. I need to know why, when it's cold outside, the water in the fire trucks, the fire hydrants, and the hoses don't freeze.
That's a lot of questions.
It is, and I'm yelling, and I don't know why, because I'm Mike. Hey, let's just start out at the one. Why
All right.
doesn't the water in the fire trucks freeze, Mike?
Okay, well, if you look behind you, we got our fire trucks inside where it's warm inside.
Yeah, what is the temperature inside here?
We keep our bays at about 55 degrees.
55? That's a little
So-
chilly. Have you turned the heat down here for some reason?
We did. Trying to save a little bit of money on the gas costs.
Ah,
So,
very good. Looking out for the taxpayers.
that's right.
Good.
So what temperature does water freeze at, Scratch?
I don't know. I got stuffing for brains. You tell me.
32 degrees.
Oh, gotcha.
So that's why our water's not going to freeze in the trucks in the bays. The trucks stay somewhat warm so that the water won't freeze.
Now, what once you go outside, though? Won't they freeze once you get outside?
Well, our engines carry about 750 gallons of water, so it takes a little bit of time for that to freeze. If you watch a lake, it takes a while for the top of the lake to freeze over.
Oh, that's
so
a
the
very
water's going to take a while to freeze if it's just outside out of the trucks.
Now, I see on the back here, you know, if you lift up one of those flaps, there's
Yep.
those are the fire hoses, right?
This one up here,
Yeah, those are fire hoses, right?
they are fire hoses
Now, you put the water in them. Why don't they freeze once they get outside?
because we're spraying water, so we have water moving.
Really?
That's right.
And the fire hydrants, why don't they freeze? I'm gonna catch you up on this one, I bet.
Oh, let's see. Have you ever heard of a frost layer? In our great state of Minnesota where it gets really cold in the winter times,
No.
if you go down 4 feet, the ground's not frozen. So the water that's in the fire hydrant is actually down 4 feet or 5 feet underground, so it doesn't freeze. Once we take the cap off and open it, then the water comes from that level, from that 4 feet under, and up to the fire hydrant and then through the hoses.
Oh, so cool. But you know what? I think you have all the facts on your side, but I think I need to see it to believe it, Mike. Do you think we could back out one of the trucks and see how water doesn't freeze?
I think we could do that. We're going to drive the truck out. We don't
Oh.
like backing them in if we don't have to.
Oh, we don't have to push them out?
Well, you can push if you want. I'll drive it.
No, I don't think so. I'm kind of weak today.
Well, you got 4 legs. I've only got 2. You should have more power.
Hey, but I want to ride in the cab. Can I ride in the cab? Can I ride in the cab? Can I ride in the
I
cab?
suppose.
Okay, come on, let's go, Mike. Here we go. This is gonna be great. Mike is gonna show us how water doesn't freeze out here. I'm gonna really like to see that, but hey, and he does this really fast. Unroll that hose, Mike, go for it. Hey, Mike, you did a really nice job, but now before you go shooting this thing, I gotta ask you a question.
Yes.
Now, it's cold outside.
That it is.
Is this hose going to freeze up like, you know, on the cartoons, they bring the hose out and they shoot it out and it's a big thing of ice. Is that going to happen today?
I hope it doesn't. It shouldn't.
All right, well, hey, I think we're ready to see it. So you ready to fire it up or do you have to hit a few more buttons?
I gotta do a couple more buttons and then we'll be ready to go. Do you want to hold it?
Sure. Can I do that?
Certainly you can.
I'm not part of the union.
There you go. I'll be right back.
So we're all ready now, Mike. Hey, now I got to ask you. It is cold outside, the water's moving, it doesn't freeze. But if the water stays stagnant, will it eventually freeze?
Yep, if we were to leave this just like it is, it'll eventually freeze up on us and then we couldn't use the hose or the nozzle.
And when it gets like a sub-zero, it's really tough to fight the fires, isn't it?
Yep, tough on the people and tough on our equipment like that.
All right, well, this is our bet now. I want to see if it freezes because I think it's going to freeze like it does in cartoons. Let's
Which
go
cartoon,
for it, man.
though? Which cartoon did you see that from?
Oh, the Tex Avery ones, you know.
Okay. All right. You ready?
Yeah, the goofy one with Droopy and Squirry Squirrel. Squirry Squirrel? All right, here we go. Get out of the way. Hey, look at that. Hey, it's not free. Oh, it had a burp.
Yep, it burps with a little air in it, but it won't freeze as long as we keep the water moving.
Hey, look at that. Well, Mike, you're telling me the truth. Well, Mike, thank you so much for showing this stuff to me and proving to me that the water doesn't freeze when it's moving.
Thanks, Rick. Scratch.
Yeah, it's Scratch.
Scratch.
Your lips are freezing already out here. Hey, well, thank you very much. Fire Chief Mike Meyer. Let's give him a hand, everybody. Yay! Thank you, sir. And Ed, this is Scratchy the Fire Dog. We'll see you next time, because Scratchy likes to scratch out the fires. Hey, let's see you shoot that out one more time.
All right, you ready? You want to stand out there, see if I can hit you?
No way. I don't want to be a smelly wet dog. Here we
Please?
go. Hey, hey!
GE Appliances and Lighting of Louisville, Kentucky announces the recall of about 174,000 GE Profile and GE Monogram dishwashers. Water condensation can drip onto the electronic control board, causing a short circuit and resulting in an overheated connector. These dishwashers were sold at retail stores nationwide, appliance dealers, and authorized builder distributors from July 2003 through December 2006 for between $750 and $1,400. For additional information regarding this recall, you can contact GE toll-free at 877-275-6840 or visit the company's website at www.geappliances.com/recall. American Honda Motor Company of Torrance, California announces the recall of about 6,000 Honda and Mantis mini tillers. A rubber grommet that is part of the engine's fuel tank may crack and leak fuel, posing a fire hazard. These tillers were sold at Honda Power Equipment dealers, the Home Depot, outdoor power equipment dealers, retailers, mail order, and catalog houses nationwide from March 2010 through September 2010 for about $400. For additional information, owners can contact Honda at 888-888-3139 or visit the firm's website at www.hondapowerequipment.com. Higher American Trading LLC, New York, New York announces the recall of about 67,000 chest freezers. A capacitor in the freezer's circuitry can overheat, posing a fire hazard to consumers. This recall involves Black & Decker and Higher white chest freezers. The Black & Decker freezers were sold exclusively at Walmart nationwide from January 2010 through September 2010 for about $150. The Higher freezers were sold through Amazon.com and other retailers from May 2010 through October 2010 for between $220 to $290. For additional information, you can call the company's toll-free at 877-878-7579 or visit the firm's website at www.chestfreezerrecall.com. Oxmoor House Incorporated of Birmingham, Alabama announces the recall of about 540,000 home improvement books. The book contains errors in the technical diagrams and wiring instructions that could lead consumers to incorrectly install or repair electrical wiring, posing an electrical shock or fire hazard to consumers. The recall involves 17 home improvement books, including Southern Living Basic Home Repairs and Sunset Basic Wiring. These books were sold at home improvement stores and bookstores nationwide from 1955 through December 2005 for between $5 and $20. For more information, you can contact Oxmoor House toll-free at 866-696-7602 or visit the firm's website at www.sunsetrecall.com.
Thanks for joining us for this edition of On Call. Before we go, we have a very special announcement for this edition. We need to announce the winner of the Lakeville Fire Department Fire Prevention Poster Contest for all 4th grade students that attend a school inside the city of Lakeville. I've got the winner right here, and the winner is Lauren. Congratulations to Lauren from Mrs. Backstrom's class at Lakeview Elementary. Lauren put in a lot of hard work, as did many other students, and had an award-winning poster. Lauren, thanks for joining us in that contest, and special congratulations to you for winning this award. Again, thanks for joining us for this edition of On Call. If you have questions, comments, an idea for the program, feel free to share those with us. You can give us a call at 952-985-4700 or use the email address on your screen and send me an email. Thanks for joining us. All fire units are clear.
This is your fire hazard makeover! Let's go!
Dan, do you know these people?
Did you know most fire casualties happen at home? Let's check it out!
Clean up debris outside to prevent accidental fire as well as arson.
Clean up around your water heater. Dryer lint catches fire very easily.
Store flammables in safety-approved containers, up and out of the reach of children.
And cleaning up cluttered workspaces helps prevent fires.
Don't overload outlets. Use a power strip if needed. Your home has just had the fire hazard makeover.
Here's your check it out checklist.
Now you can do this too.
Check it out!